Just outside the 18, Palmer pulls the trigger and he scores!
Jamaica start off the final crucial World Cup qualifiers with an emphatic 4-0 victory in Bermuda, and to be honest, I am just simply delighted with not just the 3 points, which is the most important thing, but I'm also delighted with the fact that we scored 4 goals. I still believe that goal difference will play a big role in the end. In terms of the overall performances and tactical setup and what we did on the night, let's get into that a little bit more. First of all, I have to give Steve McLaren some bit of credit here when it comes to the starting lineup. Most of it is what we expected with what the players we had available to him. Of course, Jamali Wade was starting goal, Greg Lee came in at left back, Dexter at right back, but the centre back pairing is where I raised my eyebrows first. I really was expecting us to have majority of the possession, so I wanted our 2 centre backs that were better on the ball. So I was actually expecting to see Richard King and Mason Holgate, but he brought in Damian Lowe. Of course, he wore the captain armband of the night, and I guess he was chosen for his experience. The midfield at this point picks itself. It was no surprise to see Hayden, Palmer and Russell together. The other big call the coach made was to put Tyrese Campbell on the right instead of Dixon, which I find very interesting, since we heard the whole reason why he didn't get much game time in the Gold Cup was because he was better on the left and he had to sit behind the likes of Gray and Cephas. So clearly the coach didn't have no problem playing him on the right all this time, but we won't get into that right here. Cephas came in on the left wing, and then up front it was another big call by Steve McLaren by playing the 20-year-old on his debut, Bailey Katamatari. And I'm sorry if I butcher his name, but I'll just refer him as Bailey for the rest of the video. So I was intrigued to see how the young man would get along. I have never actually seen him play a full match before, and when we started the game, the entire team itself looked like we were really up for this and was taking it serious. We looked comfortable on the ball from minute 1 and was already trying to build a passing rhythm. Bermuda, for their part though, I felt their coach got it completely wrong how they came about and set up their team. We were all expecting them to come out in a mid to low block, which is something Jamaica has struggled to break down for the last couple of games. So for them to come out with a bit of a high line and to try to press us higher up the pitch, this played into our strengths, which is of course utilizing our speed and wing play. So that was the first thing that already went our way on the night. Of course, an early goal also helped, and we got that in the 6th minute after this ball was played into the box, and then some fumbling and chaos happened after that, and the ball fell at the feet of Lowe, who I must say finished that one like his father did back in the day. 1-0 in the 6th minute, and immediately my nerves went away, and I assumed the same for the players. After that, we're just meandering about, controlling the game a bit, trying to get the second one quickly, while Bermuda were just simply looking like they were just trying to find their feet and find a way how they can come back into the game. But that's where my first annoyance of the night came about. We did allow them to come back in the game. We dropped off our line of engagement, went into a more compact shape around the half-line point, and basically tell them they have all the license in the world to possess the ball. We have no interest to really press anybody, apart from 1 or 2 of our players that would sometimes break apart from that shape to go and chase. But collectively, we were just standing in a compact shape and behind the ball. This led to their first shot on target, something Wade really should have done a bit better, because he coughed up a big rebound in front of his own goal, and was very lucky that Greg Lee was following up on the play. So at this point, I was trying to wonder what Steve McLaren was up to. I guess he wanted them to fall in a false sense of security and push their back line a little bit higher so we can utilize the speed of Cephas. And maybe when he got that second goal, when he saw Cephas take the ball from way in his own half and went on a magical run all the way up the left flank before get rid of 2 defenders and finished with a plum, I guess his tactics were justified. 2-0 just like that, and I'm already thinking that we can drop 4 or 5 more on this team. And credit to the Reggae Boyz, we looked like we were really hungry for some more goals. Bailey in particular was looking to get a goal on his debut. He was buzzing about in all the right channels. His touches were immaculate, his link-up play was good, but unfortunately the main thing, his finishing, was simply lucky at the most crucial times. But you can definitely see this boy may end up being a big time talent in the future. But this is World Cup qualifying. I wanted us to put them to the sword before the half time, because you never know, they can get their own fumbling in the box and pull off a cheap goal, or even something like this where the referee and VAR could have easily just somehow misread that and call a penalty. then bam, Bermuda was back into the game. So when it reached the halftime at 2-0, I was happy with the scoreline but a bit frustrated. And then second half came about and Bermuda started off as if they believed they could get back into the game. They created some decent half chances in the early part of the second half, got another shot on target, and then really rattled the back line when they got into the box right here and drew out a big time block from Richard King to keep the scores as they were. At this point, Bermuda was all over us and we just simply needed something to try wrestle back control, and Palmer provided that at exactly the right time. This is something I want to see more of from him. He took the ball here, carried forward to the box with confidence, and even though he had some passes to his right, he called his own number and got himself a great goal and gave us the insurance to make sure the 3 points are in the bag. You literally at this point could hear the Bermuda fans and players' spirit dying, and even the coach thought they were no longer a threat and made some changes to give some of our bench players to get in on the action. He took out Lowe to bring in Holgate, maybe saving him for Trinidad. He also took out Palmer, who didn't exactly look gas, but again probably just saving him for Trinidad. And honestly, from there, the game vibe just simply felt like, it was a training ground thing. Both sets of players were just simply going through the motion, and I kind of wanted them to press a bit more and get at least a fourth goal. So I was very happy when we got the final goal in the 89th minute of a header from Shamar Nicholson. I was especially happy for him after his drought spell for both club and country in the last couple of months. So yeah, basically good victory by the team, but it was not all positives, of course. I still have highlighted some of the negative aspects of the game. Bermuda, don't get me wrong, didn't have exactly a lot of chances. I still felt the few times they got a look at our goal was all a bit too easy. This again comes down to our shape once we lose possession. We definitely left Hayden on an island by himself to protect the back four. And with Lowe being the aggressive defender he is, he will often break the line and come forward, help Aiden in that space right before the back line. Which meant that it was a lot of pressure on King to try and mop up any Bermuda spillage in the box, and he did a great job. I just thought it was a little bit too risky. I felt that in those scenarios when we don't have the ball, I wanted more from Jonathan Russell. I wanted him to slide back beside Hayden to provide better coverage and allow Lowe to stay alongside King on the back line. In fact, I felt that Russell had one of his quieter games since his return back to the national team. And the last bit of negativity is still the fact that we need to be a bit more clinical. According to the stats, we had 18 total shots, but only a measly 6 of them was anywhere close to the target. Bailey himself really should have a hat-trick on the night. Alright, but let's spin things back to more of a positive outlook. I want to highlight 3 players who I thought had a really good night. First one, of course, being Tyrese Campbell. He came in on the right hand side, and honestly, he looks like a breath of fresh air to that wing position. He was always positive through the night, always looking to take on his defender 1v1, and he did not hide away from his defensive duties. I don't remember Dexter Lembikisa having an easier time of things in defense, all because Campbell would routinely come back and help him double up against a man in pink. So really a good showing from Campbell, and we even got to see him on the left hand side, and he looked great over there as well. So I'm excited to see more of him against better oppositions. Alright, the other player I want to highlight is somebody we spent a little bit time talking about already, which is Richard King. He had one of his better performances with Jamaica here I felt tonight. He was excellent in covering for Lowe, as I said. He mopped up a lot of the threats in the defensive third. It was also the sense of calmness that he brings to the back line when he gets his foot on the ball. And of course, his long passes up top really helped illuminate some of the pressure and jumpstart any attack we have going forward. So it really was a solid performance by Richard King. The last player I want to look at is Casey Palmer. Look, he was one of the most polarizing figures coming out of that Gold Cup. A lot of people didn't want him back in his team. And I'm not going to say that this performance is enough to really silence all his critics, but I guess he did just enough, and it was a well-taken goal at the end. I would have liked to see him get on the ball more and do a little more playmaking in the match, but overall I guess it was a solid performance by Palmer. But as I said, they got the job done, they got what we needed, 3 points, and I like the fact again that we got 4 goals. Now we come home to take on Trinidad, who should be a sterner test. Speaking of Trinidad, I want to mention before I run out of here that they held Curacao 0-0 in their big match in Port of Spain, so they will be coming here in hopes of trying to get their first 3 points on the board. But after this victory, I am sure we're ready for them. But alright guys, that is all from this review on our big win in Bermuda. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of our performances yesterday. Does this convince you that we're back to our best, or are you just looking at the fact that it was just simply Bermuda? Otherwise, please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on everything on the Reggae Boyz leading up to hopefully the World Cup. Otherwise, for great Reggae Boyz content, you're already at the right place. Jump in, have fun. You too, big up yourself.